Yo, what's going on, guys? My name is Alex, and today we're going to be talking about the OG Anunoby trade, him going to the New York Knicks. I can't say that I'm surprised that OG Anunoby is being traded, because I swear for the past 2, maybe even 3 years, OG has been on the trade block, and it's finally time to talk about his new team and his fit on his new team. But let's break down the trade package first of all. So again, OG Anunoby going to the New York Knicks, and his former Raptor teammates Precious Achiuwa and Malachi Flynn will be joining him as well in New York. And New York is sending Emmanuel Quickley, RJ Barrett, and a second-round pick, which is in 2024. First off, I want to start off with the Raptors because, of course, OG's the best player in this trade. So it's nice to talk about him and what he looks like on the Knicks, but we're going to get into that. I want to talk about the Raptors, though, because I actually think they low-key fleeced in this deal. Yes, RJ Barrett is not my favorite player, not my cup of tea in terms of his play style and how productive he can actually be, but he's still very young, and he's from Canada. Maybe he starts to turn it up with the Raptors with a little bit more opportunity and not so much expectations of having to perform on a playoff team like he did in New York. So maybe him going to the Raptors where there isn't a lot of expectations, he'll play better. I think he's actually been a pretty solid defender pretty much his entire career, and he has shown signs, at least this year and the end of last year and in the playoffs, to maybe look like a solid enough player as a scorer, efficient enough scorer, to be a above average role player on a potential playoff team. And although RJ Barrett, his performance doesn't really match up to his contract that he currently has, where this year he's getting paid about $23 million, and then it's going to bump up right up to 25, and it's going to keep going until 2026, where he'll be getting paid $29 million. Again, if there is still room of improvement for him, I actually do think this contract would be pretty fitting to the player he could potentially be. And even if he doesn't reach that potential, I still do think with the way that the league is going, with how much money players are getting paid now, I think this is actually a very tradable contract. Obviously, it got traded, so I actually don't think this is too bad of a move for the Raptors to get. Now, for Emmanuel Quickley, this is his last year of his rookie deal, so he will become a free agent, but I would assume that the Raptors would give him a lot of money in free agency because he's a really good player. Emmanuel Quickley is only 24, and since last year, he's been a certified 6th Man of the Year candidate, in my opinion, with his main attributes being a great defender, even at his size, and actually a pretty capable scorer as well. He's able to create his own shots, and maybe not that good of a distributor, but again, if he is going to be coming off the bench, I don't really think that's going to be much of a problem. A guy who's able to be a spark plug, create his own shots, be a great three-point shooter, and give you great defense, that is something that's very valuable for a team. And the fact that the Raptors gave up OG Anunoby, who is also on an expiring deal, and they got back 2 young pieces, one that I think can continue to be on this roster and be a great contributor in Emmanuel Quickley, and then RJ Barrett, who I think could contribute, but not really sure what the ceiling is looking like at this point. I think this is a really good package for the Raptors, especially since now it seems like they are going to start blowing things up. Pascal Siakam will most likely be traded before the trade deadline. So I think this is a really good package for them. And if I had to give them a grade on it, I'm honestly going to give them an A. I think this is low-key a fleece. Now, to talk about OG Anunoby on the New York Knicks, yes, OG Anunoby, a great 3-and-D guy, one of the more versatile defenders on the perimeter, and a really strong enough body to where you can't really put him in the post. It's not someone that you can really just bully. And for a New York Knicks team with Tom Thibodeau, who is a defensive-minded coach, and the Knicks have also really leaned in to being a defensive team since their offense isn't really that great, and it's really relied upon with Jalen Brunson. I think really going all in on the defense is a really big thing for the Knicks, and OG Anunoby, I think, fits that mold of player that I think the Knicks want on their team, and the fact that OG can also give you 18 points per game while being a good three-point shooter and doing a little bit of self-creation as well. I think that's a really good fit for the Knicks. However, the reason why I've been saying that the Raptors low-key fleece the Knicks is that I just don't think that the Knicks should have traded RJ and Emmanuel Quickley. I think if they had the choice, I think they should have did one or the other. And again, I'm still not very high on RJ. But when you take into account that the Knicks last year not only were a good defensive team, but they also had a lot of depth, you're giving up 2 key guys in that depth rotation with RJ Barrett and Emmanuel Quickley. And we can also take into account that Mitchell Robinson is out for the year and Jericho Sims is injured as well. That's 4 guys who I think could have gotten legitimate minutes. You also lost Obi Toppin as well, but in free agency this last offseason, but you're just losing a lot of that depth. And yes, I do think OG is a great player and he's going to fit really good. I just think maybe you gave up a little bit too much. And yes, you only also gave up a second-round pick, so we don't even know what that's going to look like. That's not really the point, though. I think you had to choose between RJ or Emmanuel Quickley, especially since OG could potentially be a one-year rental. Now, it has been reported that, you know, if he was going to go to a team, he wanted a bigger offensive role. But if that wasn't going to be the case and he was going to be kind of more of what he's been pretty much his entire career, he would want to go to the Knicks. So to me, that sounds like he's going to re-sign with the Knicks pretty much no matter what. So maybe the one-year rental thing isn't that much of a worry. But I think the Knicks are going to miss Emmanuel Quickley a lot. I think a big reason why they maybe didn't have that big of a problem to give up RJ and Quickley is the fact that Dante DiVincenzo has been a very good pickup for this team, someone they got this last offseason. Josh Hart has also been solid. Isaiah Hartenstein has also been very good as well coming off the bench, but he's going to be their new starter since Mitchell Robinson is out. I could definitely see how maybe the Knicks are high on their supporting cast that they have, despite the injuries and despite the guys they had to give up to get OG Anunoby. I just don't think that this moves the needle all that much. So it's like, if you really just moved one of the two guys of Quickley or RJ Barrett, I think it would have been more of a needle pusher. But the fact that you gave up both of them, I just don't think this moves the needle all that much. And it also is going to be interesting to see as well, because Donovan Mitchell has been a big player, potentially, you know, being traded to the Knicks as well. And if they want that to happen, if the Knicks are actually serious about getting Donovan Mitchell on this team, now that you've gotten rid of RJ and Emmanuel Quickley, who's going to be that next guy that you put into a trade package to get Donovan Mitchell that the Cavs are really going to want? Mitchell Robinson is 25, so still very young and maybe a little bit more potential that could be grown in there. The Knicks also have Quentin Grimes as well. Maybe you combine both of those guys and that is enough for the Cavs to really pique their interest and maybe potentially giving the Knicks Donovan Mitchell for those two guys. And, you know, alongside with draft capital as well. But I just think that the Cavs could get more for Donovan Mitchell, and I don't think that is a good enough trade. Now, if you didn't have to give up RJ Barrett and Quickley for this OG Anunoby trade, and you had one of them, I think adding one of those guys along with maybe a Mitchell Robinson and or a Quentin Grimes would be a little bit of a better trade package for Donovan Mitchell. But now, I just don't think that Donovan Mitchell trade will happen, and if it does, Donovan Mitchell is going to have to just only ask to be traded to the Knicks, to the point where the Knicks have no other option but to give them small amounts of assets, because the market just isn't there for Donovan Mitchell, because Donovan Mitchell, of course, is only asking to go to that team. So while I do like the fit of OG Anunoby on this Knicks team, I do think the Knicks gave a little bit too much. So if I had to give this one a grade, I would probably go with a B-. Again, the fit is really good, but I just think the Knicks gave a little bit too much. So yeah, those are my thoughts on this OG Anunoby trade. Let me know down below what y'all think. If you enjoyed, make sure to like and sub. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subs by my birthday in June, so please help me out. Make sure you check out my socials down below in the description. You can also check out this video somewhere on the screen. Anyways, I'll see you on the next one. Peace out.